International politics never fails to surprise us. Post Second World War, Japan has opted a pacifist constitution. Pacifist constitution, especially Article 9 of the Japanese constitution, which was framed after the Second World War, says that explicitly Japan renounced the war. Japan is not going to use war as an instrument to settle any dispute, and that is why Japan do not going to have a armed forces in the name of Air Force, Navy or Army. They are going to have only self-defense forces. And with that, Japan want to resolve any dispute only through a peaceful way. And that is why Japanese way of dealing the disputes, or Japan as a country, is called as a pacifist country. It means Japan do not have any armed forces. Answer is no. Japan have the forces, but they are called as self-defense forces. Do Japan not having any arms and ammunitions? No. Japan have arms and ammunitions, but all of these arms, ammunitions, naval assets, air force assets, they are primarily defensive in the nature. And Japan is also relying heavily on US for its defense. But since the rise of China and the notorious North Korean attitude with the nuclear weapon have creating lot of anxiety in the Japanese political class over the year. Then the rise of Shinzo Abe. Though Shinzo Abe is no more, he was assassinated, but Shinzo Abe, a prime minister which is emerged, and he have his political ideology emerged after the Second World War. He want Japan should rise. And Japan, though not outrightly renounce his pacifism, but Japan should actively looking for its safety and security, and Japan should not be remain committed to that kind of classical pacifism which they have opted after the Second World War. Reason is very clear: notorious North Korea and the rise of China. As the rise of China started asserting their rights, especially in the South China Sea, Sea of Japan. China is consistently pushing Japan, and that has created a concern. But Japan was always have a security guarantor, that is United States of America. But right now, as we have seen that, whether it is a war in the Ukraine or the war in the Middle East, US is no more considered as a reliable partner even for a country like Japan, especially under Donald Trump. This has created lot of tension and anxiety in the Japanese political class. Then the rise of Iron Lady of Japan, that is Sanae Takaichi. She is a prime minister of Japan, and she also emerged from breaking the shackles. She is the first lady prime minister of Japan, and she is considered as a hawkish in the Japanese politics. She want to make sure Japan should not be bullied by any power, and especially from China. Now, the Prime Minister has announced yesterday Japan is going to uplift any kind of a sanction which they have put on their industries for sales and export of offensive category of weapons from the Japan to countries. Though it is not going to be a aggressive, but now Japan is no more say no export and manufacture offensive weapon. And the reasons are very clear. As I said that, the reason number one, that is rise of China and Chinese bullying to Japan. So Japan need to prepare itself by how? Answer is go for strengthening the neighborhood. If Japan is going to export offensive weapon to countries like Philippines, Australia, Taiwan, or even India, then the capacity of these nations in the air defense system, in the surveillance, is going to increase, and by upgrading their air defense surveillance capacity, Japan is going to divert Chinese attention from Japan only to other nation. Means China have to prepare itself against these countries also in order to counter their defense capacity. In this way, Japan can create a kind of an alliance system. Second, as I said that US is having more inward looking approach, and US is no more reliable partner or automatic defense guarantor for the Japan. This is the second reason. And third reason is a military industrial complex. Why military industrial complex? Over the years, companies like Mitsubishi Corporation, they are manufacturing the weapons, but in a very limited capacity and quantity, though they have exceptional technological capacity. But because Japanese have a pacifist constitution, so they do not allow their companies to use their technological ability to develop and sell the offensive weapon. But now it is removed. Now the Japanese defense industry, they can manufacture weapons which are offensive in the nature, and they can sell and make an export earning. So these are the three primary reasons why Japan is going to be a more offensive in the nature in comparison to completely defensive posture and classical pacifism to neo-pacifism, where the pacifism doesn't mean that I am going to be only defensive. Now, the neo-pacifism of the Japan is going to develop a capability and credibility in order to ensure the peace should be in the region. Thank you.